I wanna try and take in all the highs, embrace them for more than a moment's time. I want you, please don't move when I push you away. I know I contradict myself some days, but will you ride the lows with me?
Welcome to Mental Health News Radio. I am your host, Kristin Sunanta Walker. Our goal is to help discussions about mental health be a regular part of your daily life, no different than discussions about physical health. Mental illness can be a topic of discussion under the umbrella of mental health, along with so many other topics. This show is the original program on mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com. Our network of shows are played in over 180 countries and cover more topics under that umbrella than you can possibly imagine. We were talking about mental health long before it became cool and popular to talk about, and thank goodness it has become so popular. We have incredible guests, advocates, patients, experts, people. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy our intro music, a song named Lows, written by Aubrey Toon. You can find her music at www.aubreytoone.com.
That night when I started praying, I cried, will you ride the lows with me? Will you ride the lows with me? When I'm down, my vision gets blurry.
Dr. Mary Jones of the Dr. Mary Jones Show. Hello.
Hi, Kristin. I'm so excited to be here. You're one of my favorite people that I've never met.
We will one day, and ditto to you. So, I am really excited about this show. We just did our little 2-minute check-in chat, and I am excited to do a show about Karens. Let's talk about the Karens of the world. And exactly, I want to go to you for the definition of it, and then you can pass it to me, or your definition is totally fine. But let's break down for anyone that lives under a rock and doesn't know what that is. What is a Karen?
So a Karen, how to say this, and being a Black woman, a Black American woman, that word or description, it never fails to bring a level of anxiety up in me. And my shoulders get tight. I'm just a little bit on guard. I'm a little bit just ready to kind of have to defend myself or do what I got to do.
Or how can I leave without causing a scene that I will cause a scene if I have to stay around this person?
Yep. So a Karen is a white woman who is pretty self-involved, entitled, and has just an undercurrent of superiority, especially towards, and maybe not even an undercurrent, maybe like
a direct current,
especially to people of color, and especially to women of color, or Black women. These women, they for whatever reason, approach us as Black women with that air of superiority and kind of looking down their nose at us and expecting us to sort of bow and kowtow to them, and that we would understand what our place is. Yeah. And they don't do it overtly. They do it through these microaggressive things they say, body language, posture. It's that. And it's so sometimes sort of ambiguous or not easily described, that it can easily be seen as or said to be that the Black woman or Black person is overly sensitive, looking
Right.
for it, so we can be gaslit. And I thinking about this, it's the same mentality that originated in slavery and in the plantation. The headmistress of the plantation and the women slaves, that is, and they still have that mentality that we are supposed to be, deferent to them. We're supposed to put our heads down and our eyes down, not look at them directly, not challenge them, be ready to do at their whim whatever they want, or at least get out of the way. And they don't really deal well when that sort of unspoken authority is challenged in any way. I'm sure everybody's seen the TikToks and the Instagrams and the Facebooks of, when they're challenged, like the way that they can
Yeah.
act and
Karen's
how
getting called
manipulative.
out. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And how manipulative they can be.
Oh God. Yeah. 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 It's an entitled. Oh my goodness. And there's an anger, an undercurrent of anger. And I don't even want to say what it's from, because that's me talking when I should shut up and listen. So, but there is an undercurrent of anger there, specifically at women of color. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
specifically there for a lot of reasons.
Yep. And I think some of it is like, knowing that maybe they're men, and I'm talking back in slavery, and even, probably now with enslaved women, like we were sought after, objectified, sexualized by, you know, our white masters, white
Yep.
men. And the women, the wives had to, put up with it, turn a blind eye to it. And maybe the only way that they could address it was to, you know, have this well, I own you, I'm in control of you, like my
Right.
my husband may want you, but I'm in control of you. And so I think that has and continues to be probably, part of it. And also it's just ingrained.
Absolutely. If you feel comfortable, are there any stories that you can share about things that you've experienced?
I mean, there are so many.
I know, I know. It's like, which one? What year? What month? What day?
you know I mean, seriously. And I was born and raised in Louisiana, in the deep South, and North Louisiana, to if and so from a really early age, like that's what my experience was, is like, you are not supposed to feel like you are equal to any white person. Thank God that my family was not on board with that. And we were always taught that we are equal and we deserve respect, and that we also need to respect others, even if they don't respect us or themselves.
Hmm.
And so we had such a strong, like, that was drilled into us from like great grandmothers all the way down, that was passed down to us. So, in spite of just the oppressive racism that we had to deal with every day from school age, on, I always had a sense that that wasn't the way that it was supposed to be. That wasn't true about me.
Hmm.
Um, and that I was valuable, and that equally valuable to any other human being, because God made us all. And so having that background and, being brought up as a Christian and understanding who Jesus was and what he stood for, it made it easier, but it didn't make it hurt less,
Right.
it, and yeah, so I am used to being the only Black person or brown person in a room just because of the path in life that I took to become a physician, and being from a rural town and area. Yeah, even in school, I remember like I was really inquisitive and intelligent, and I was friends with everyone. I had lots of white friends, lots of Black friends, and there was a push and pull even with that. Like I didn't really fit in with the Black people. I didn't really fit in with the white people. Um, um, and so I was always in the middle. And I was thinking about this, that most of my white friends were smart, and they were all in the gifted program at school. I was never offered to be in the gifted program. I was never asked to be. And I was making the same grades, doing the same things that they were doing. And it never occurred to anyone that that would be something that would be good for me as well.
Wow.
And so that's just one, thing that, I now realize why that was. And then I went on to go to a whole high school that was just for gifted students, that a few of my other white friends tried to get into, and none of them got into.
Ah.
And so I didn't even take that as being part of like a system that was against me. I didn't understand it, and I did think about it, like, wonder why I can't be in gifted. Like it seems so cool, like what they're doing, but
Right.
I was never chosen to be a part of that. And I could go on. And I, there's other things, but I'll let you ask when I ask something else.
Do you feel like I don't even like to say, has there been a shift? Because, we've had times, or women's rights and Black Lives Matter and all these different things. I'm not even pointing out specific things to point out those specific things. I'm just saying there have been times where different movements, if you will, and then we all think, good, we're going in the right direction. And then everything went, and then we had 2018 with Me Too and everything. And I looked at it like, okay, I guess we're trying this again to see if anything's going to stick. That just seems to keep happening again and again and again. So, but that's, those are my thoughts about it. And I've had different thoughts, but that's kind of where I'm at with it now. But I am noticing more and more women coming together to support each other. And it does not matter, where you're from, what your race, anything. It doesn't matter. We're just supporting one another in a way where I feel like there's a permission now that there hasn't been before, or anyway, that's how it feels to me. But what do you think about that?
So I would agree with that in some aspects.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as far as like our bodies and how we as women can have autonomy and can have charge of what we do with our bodies, and just advocating for ourselves and calling out people who would violate that. I think that in some regards, like that has happened, but I don't know if as a Black woman, if I feel the same level of
Right.
freedom in that, because there are still even though I'm a black, like I'm still hypersexualized, I'm still objectified. Yeah, we are in the conversation some, but it's not the same as with a white woman that is having the conversation, because she's coming from a perspective of always kind of having been an authority, maybe
Right.
like like not necessarily over a white man, but certainly, and I know all this is a general statement, but I'm talking about the women who maybe are Karens, for lack of a better way to put it.
No,
Like,
that's absolutely true. And yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know if they value me like I value me, or value me like they would value another.
another person. I
Right.
still feel like there's that token thing, like, oh, let's be diverse. And
Mm-hmm.
like the company is all white up and down the board, but now we're going to have our token people to show that we're changing. I see that a lot. And I'm like, huh, okay, well, there's still that, which is I don't know, the roads that lead to progress. I'm like, is that a road that's going to lead to progress?
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't know.
I think that road can lead to progress if the ones of us who do get in the door as a token understand what that means and are willing to not just be the token and sit there, but we're willing to bring others along and others in with us and advocate for others coming in with us, because it's like that's what white people have been doing for centuries. Like if one of them gets in, like it's like the good old, like everybody's gonna get in, like you're gonna scratch my
Right.
back, I'm gonna scratch, and so we've been historically kept out of that because it was deliberate, and also we didn't have anybody in there that would scratch our back. And then maybe as we got in, we were so scared of rocking the boat and losing what we had that we didn't advocate for others of us coming in. I think that road of maybe the reason why you got in wasn't the best of reasons, but
Right.
now that you're in, what are you going to do with that? And so that's something that I think could change it. And we were talking about last week as far as like being in the job market or corporate America,
Yeah.
or upward of, in medicine, which is my field. And now I'm getting more into administrative stuff. I'm interested in that. And so, and a lot of times these days, a lot of the meetings are virtual, and I have second thoughts every time I'm going on to a Zoom meeting with like a white CEO or owner of a company or clinic or whatever, because I'm like, okay, when they see me, what are they going to think about me because I'm a Black woman? Where is that going to be well received? Is that going to lose me the position, or are they going to think that I'm not qualified just based on what I look like? And knowing that if I can say what I need to say for 5 minutes, they're gonna understand like what they're getting.
Right.
um but sometimes you don't even get that. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. I don't want that person, that to represent us because of that the Blackness or whatever, because other people may think that we're not as good or whatever. It's still there, like it didn't go anywhere. You feel it in the grocery store. I mean, I'm in Alabama, so obviously maybe it's like more prevalent here still.
Oh,
um,
absolutely. Anything in the South is light years behind a lot of other places, obviously. But yeah, I know what a road you picked to travel in this lifetime. You know what I mean? Like coming into this, or that whatever anyone's beliefs are. I always think, God picked an interesting road for you to journey on.
Yeah, he did. That's a great way to put it too. Because I do believe that he set me on this road, and not to mention that I married a white man from the Midwest. And now we're in Alabama, and we have, all these five, biracial kids, and it's not always easy. It's not, it's not an easy road. And I faced, a lot of harm and hurt and racism in his own family. And that has been a great source of pain for me, for my kids, for, even my husband. And so, sometimes I do wonder, like, God, why? Like, what in the world? Could I just get a break?
Yeah.
But I do have a break because I have a wonderful life, and I don't let any of these things stop me or hold me back, or, it makes me even more determined to thrive and be an example for my children, be an example for, others, which is why, I'm getting out here and using my voice and talking about all of these difficult topics. No, it has not been easy, but it's been worth it.
Sorry, this will definitely be a full edit because somebody just drove up to deliver a package. Anyway, sorry, Joe. You'll have to edit out. And luckily, I'm doing this.
Joe.
Yeah, Joe. I'm recording it on my computer because then he'll have the audio from me that he can mute when there was a dog bark.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so we'll be okay there. But anyway, all right. Resetting. Jack, Mama's talking. Now you can't talk. You can't bark. All right, here we go. I'm going to do a clap so he knows. Okay, so I'm being careful about what I say and how I say it. And what's interesting about that to me, since I talk, for a living, is I reached out to my friend and family group, and we have I grew up in a very diverse environment. So my experience was very different. And I always been open in my mouth and saying, this abuse is happening. This is that's been me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that to say, oh, I'm so wonderful. That just was my experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I did reach out to everybody and say, okay, I've had this conversation before. It's interesting to see how people evolve or devolve depending on what's going on. Because I've seen so many people, it feels like to me, devolve since 2020. People that I'm like, what? How do you believe this now? When you and I were like doing shows on toxic behavior and blah, blah, blah. Like, how did you, so that's kind of blowing my mind is, and I don't know if it's after effects of what's been going on with our politics, COVID, all of those things, but I am noticing quite a few people where I'm really shocked at what feels like an unevolving, if that's even a word. And it scares me, but I still sent this out, and I got so many, funnily enough, I got so many things on TikTok with these strong, incredible women of every color. And not surprisingly, I'm like, oh my God, I do some of those things they're talking about. Ick. And I looked at it, excitedly too, like, okay, well, there's more things for me to watch and learn and listen. I don't need to say anything, but then I do. So figuring out, because I believe it's our responsibility as women to open the doors, to change things, to help everybody evolve into this new place. And men have been trying to do it, and it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
So I do think we have to rely on us women to do this stuff. But on the other hand, the Karens don't make it easy.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think, you were saying from 2020 and COVID and stuff, I really think that it was there, but it was the perfect storm to put a spotlight on it.
Yes.
Like everybody's watching, and then, everybody's in their house. And all we have to do is watch. And then all of the crazy things with, the George Floyd and all that stuff started happening all in under a microscope, like things that we as Black people have been seeing and experiencing for such a long time, like just and trying to get it talked about and looked at. And and I'm not of the idea that all police officers are bad, all politicians are bad. I don't. I think people are complicated, and there's good and bad in all of us, and you never know what you might do if you're put in a situation. Also though, like this what happened then and what has been happening, it's not new, but I think people could see it and watch it, and they didn't have anything else to do because they were stuck in their homes.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting way to watch the evolution of these things, because of course the seeds of all of it have always been there. You know this. Some of us could be oblivious to it or think, oh, aren't things getting better? Well, because it wasn't happening to us, and we didn't pay attention, didn't know how to pay attention, didn't want to, felt our privilege, whatever the reasons were. Yeah, this big spotlight got shown. And I remember sitting with my mom and her former boss, who is this powerful, incredible Black woman, and her boss for like 25 years was this incredible woman. And she was like, yeah, it's always been there.
Yeah.
This is not new. And we're watching the last gasps of a dying breed, and they are going to hang on for dear life out of fear of what happens when we don't have control anymore.
Yep. It's a self-preservation instinct. It's they look at it that way, and not a let's come together and like talk about this and understand that we're all the same and we want the same things. It's about, I want to hold my place. I like where I am. And I don't know where I could end up. And I would rather have what I have now than risk that. And so, as you know, Kristin, like in 2020, like my family, like we moved out of the country. I don't know if you know this,
I don't know.
to the Dominican Republic. And now we split time between the two places, but we stayed there full time and really didn't come back during, for 2 years during COVID. And being out of it, all
How
of the
was that?
Amazing.
As you're getting this whole view of things, but you have the I don't want to say luxury, because nothing luxurious was going on during that time, but you have the ability to have space from it. You're not within it as much as you are when you're here in the South.
Yep. It was amazing. And I was so ready to go. We lived here in a really affluent neighborhood, and it was mostly white people. And the lady across the street didn't care for our family. And I can only think it's just because we were an interracial family.
Right.
And she called the police on us for our dog. She yelled at my kids one night, and then came to my door and was banging on my door. And when I told her to go away, she was like, "Oh, you're so angry." And so we were dealing with all of that, and so I was ready, like, to get away from that and to be able to like decompress and not have to to worry about things. And then things with my husband's family were deteriorating, and it is the same thing. I am too outspoken, I am too Black, I am too this or that for them. And so it was just it was time to do something different. And we have enjoyed it. We love it. We are so thankful to God for our life and the way and the fact that we can do that, because it's a completely different atmosphere. It's a completely different just energy. And when you are out of the country, and not only out of the country, we moved to a place where it's majority, brown and Black people. So my kids were really, before we moved, just because of all the stuff that was going on, they were becoming afraid of what the police could do to them. And so even after we got over there, like, it's a totally different dynamic with the police, because all the police are brown. And so, like, all of them. And so, they're not, and all the police here are not bad. We have lots of police officers in my family. There are some that are bad, and they roar loud, and the good ones who go to work every day and try to protect us, and they just want to go home to their families, their voices are not heard. So I'm not saying that all the police are bad. And there's bad Black police and bad white police, and there's good white police and bad Black police. So I'm not saying that I don't value police people. But my kids are scared, just seeing all this stuff in the media. And so going there, and I have 4 boys.
Yeah, I know. I was going to bring that up. Like, that's why I say you were handed an interesting life to navigate through.
And so it was, the kids, once they figured out, like, oh, the police are nice here, and look, they look like me. Like, it was like, whoa. And now that we're back here right now, my teenager, my oldest, like, he wants to go out with his friends and stuff. And I'm not going to lie, like, I get a little nervous when he goes, and it's not because of the police. It's because of the people that would call the police, that will see my, Black son and his Black friends out, just, and they have a Mexican friend. They all hang out. They've been friends since very young age, second, third grade. And they hang. And, they asked me, we go to the mall? Can we do this? I'm like, oh my gosh, like, please just be careful. And I didn't have that problem. I don't have that problem when I'm in the Dominican. And so, and I'm a pretty, moderate thinking when it comes to the police, I would say. But it still scares me. And it's not just because of the police. It's because we get the police called on us way more than other people. And it sometimes it can escalate. And so, and then my 14-year-old, he has autism without intellectual disabilities, but he doesn't, just the thought, like, it takes him a minute sometimes to follow commands because he has to process it. And so what if, the police were called on him? And so I have to worry about a whole set of things here in the US, in Birmingham, Alabama, that I don't worry about when we're living in the Dominican.
It's got to feel like when you get off the plane there that you just go,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Wow. And the opposite feeling when we get here.
Exactly. And then you come here and it's like, okay, I'm back in the box.
Yeah. But what a luxury that we get to do that. Oh, what a blessing that we get to do that. I just think, my family, especially when we were there and weren't coming back and forth because of COVID, like I'm worried about my nephews and my nieces, and so it's just it hasn't gone anywhere, and it is like an oppressive thing. And I think shows like this, where people are willing to, you're willing to talk to me, and I'm willing to say what I feel, whether it's popular or not.
Right.
And as a person who does not, I do not dislike any one people group or race over another. We are an interracial family, and I still, and my kids and my husband, like we have this life that makes us, almost a target sometimes. And so, uh, if I can use my voice and use, a platform to, kind of address that from a little bit of a different perspective, then I'm happy to do that. I want to be respectful of everyone, like my mom said, whether they respect me or respect themselves. Because I think it ultimately comes down to, like, if you are someone that would treat someone like that, like, you don't even respect yourself.
Right. Or you don't even know who yourself is.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, the temperature reading that you take when you are around someone that you really do care about and you enjoy their company, and let's say it's a white woman and she makes these, maybe not microaggressions, but just some of the lingo or language, and it is disrespectful, and she is clueless Magoo about it. Where's your stance on that? And also on, why do I have to teach these people? Like,
Mhm.
seriously, like, how do you feel about those things?
Yeah. So if it's someone that's really, like you said, close to me, and I know, like, who they are, and
Yeah,
I had to do this actually, like, a few,
I
like,
bet
about
you.
6 or 8 months ago. Like, I had a friend who, she came to me and was asking me, like, okay, she said something that really offended another a black woman. She's a white woman, and she said something that really offended, a black woman, and she really did not understand what she said that was offensive. And it was a big thing, and she ended up, like, she was in this course, and it was with the teacher, no less. um,
Oy.
it was not good. She ended up, like, crying through the whole class, and and imagine what, I'm sure the black teacher thought she was being manipulative by crying, and
Right.
and so that just made it worse. But she really was not being. And so she came to me and she was like, I need you to tell me the truth. And so
Yeah.
I did tell her the truth, like, this is why that was offensive. I think she said something like I've got a black sister. Because she grew up, and she really does, because she grew up in a family where they had brought a foster daughter in. And
Mm,
so she really did, but she was using it in a way that
to have cred or something.
something like
I
that.
definitely have done that. I probably did it on this show without meaning to.
Oh, well, but I
But
know
yeah.
who she is, and so I was like, that's, you can't really do that. I mean, and this is why. And so if it's somebody that I really, like, care about, that I know who they are, I don't have a problem pointing it out to them in a way such as, I don't want people to think that about you, because that's not you.
Oh, that's so nice. God, that's nice and so kind of you to say it that way.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I know you, and I know that's not you. And we let me help you to not have that, because it's me, right? So that you're not going to get the reaction that you would get from somebody who didn't know who you are.
Right.
You're going to be
Right.
asking for it, and that person may not say anything, or they might, but they're going to have, like, an impression of you that is not the truth about who you are.
Mm. How about the Well, that's good, that it's gracious of you to say that, because I know some of my friends will say, I am, and they're just talking because we've known each other forever. So they're just like letting their hair down and talking and not thinking about what they're saying in front of me, because, we've been around each other forever. And they will say, if I get asked one more time to explain this or to do, I'm just going to lose my shit, and it's
and
cool.
definitely I'm there. Like if you're just a random person, like it is not my job. Don't invite me to speak about like how you should talk to black people. Like don't, because that shouldn't even be a thing. You treat people how you want to be treated. I'm not on board with that. So I am of that, like, what, like it's 2020, what, and you think I'm in charge of educating you on how to treat me and how the way that you approach and say and your prejudices are wrong, and we're just going to have like this education session. Like, do you know how busy I am? Like, I don't like, so
do I have time? I already teach. My whole life is about teaching if people are willing to pay attention.
yeah, like,
Because
and I'm going to treat you how I want to be treated. How about that? And we all, like, it doesn't matter, like the history of slavery and blah, 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 blah. You know how you would like to be treated. If you're not treating the person across from you that way, then there's a problem. I am not going to, I think demanding of the victim or the oppressed to teach the victimizer or the oppressor, and that's in any situation.
Exactly.
Making that be my responsibility is adding more trauma to the situation. So, yeah, so you can tell I have a very strong view about that too, but people that I love and care about, that I have a history with, that is completely different to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so careful about, as I should be, so I'm not complaining. And I'm even still flub up all the time, but because I get so relaxed with my girlfriends that I've known forever, and I'm a mimic, and they mimic me all the time too. I can just get real comfortable with somebody that I feel comfortable around, and then it will sound like I am being totally disrespectful, and actually I am. So it's really interesting to just be like, okay, you need to watch what you say, who you're with, out of respect. Instead of, oh, why can't I, blah, blah, blah. Well, because you can. You can't.
Yeah.
Not right now. And maybe never. I hope not never. God, I hope not never.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like the best thing that I can do is keep learning and keep shutting, but also speaking. You know what I mean? Like, shut up, learn when to shut up.
Yep. When you're not the expert.
Speak. Yeah.
Yeah. Learn how to be quick to listen and slow to speak.
Yeah.
In some places. Now, if you are in a place and you are the expert and you are the one that is delivering, then it's different. But if you are in a situation where you know that you're not the expert, you know that you don't need to be speaking, like you need to be absorbing, then that's a different situation.
Yeah. And no one should talk the way that they talk when they're around all their girlfriends they've known forever. Only talk that way around those people.
Yep. That know you and know your heart and know who you are. And there's a certain amount of grace that's built in there. Exactly. And that's where you can cut your teeth. Like, that's where you can get out the kinks. And, ooh, like, these people are going to tell me when I
Oh,
put my
totally
foot in
makes
my mouth, and you tell me, like it's a mutual
right.
thing, like if and that's how you are with people that you love and that you trust. You can call each other out, and it's not seen as, you know, um this chastisement, and you don't get as defensive. And on the other hand, you can be sort of a sounding board for them, and as they can for you, and you could talk about things that you maybe couldn't talk about with somebody else.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
yes, it can be like a think tank almost.
It
That's
is.
exhausting if it's like that all the time. I mean, sometimes you just want to Netflix and chill or whatever, but if you're sometimes really deep friendships and relationships call for that. Iron sharpens iron.
So well put. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's so lovely to be around people that you've known forever, and that when you met them, racism was not a part. It all, everybody experiences it, meaning they have it happen to them or they see it happening, depending on what side of the fence you are there. But to be around people that you knew before that you were infected with what that is,
Mm-hmm.
and to know, have those people in your life still is like, oh God, I remember when we just were kids
Yep.
and my best friends, and we just hung out and did our thing. And then the first time something happened to them,
Yep.
being absolutely horrified and going through whatever, while also being like, well, this isn't about me. So
Yep.
I can't sit and be the biggest crier here. They're the ones that deserve to have the tears here, but I'm feeling it for what I just
Yep.
witnessed,
And we learn not to cry.
Yeah, like, yeah.
If we'd be crying like constantly, like in the grocery store line, like just bawling. If we, so we, and I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it is kind of a good thing
It's a
that we,
reality. It makes
yep,
you talk about iron.
yep. You get an iron rod in your back, and you learn to look them in the eye, in the face of the way that they're treating you and what they're saying to you or what they're not saying to you.
Mm.
Like, you learn to put your shoulders back and to look them right in the eye and refuse to take it, and then not go home and crumble into a puddle. You go on about your life. And that's good. And it also, there's a lot of maybe probably unaddressed pain that goes along with that too. But you can't stop living. You can't stop going. You can't stop being.
Right, exactly. You don't, when people get angry at someone for doing something, I always think, well, I'm not going to just die.
Yep.
I still am going to live and breathe and go about on my way. So
Yep.
it's probably better if we sort of work something out here that's peaceful.
Yep. Yep.
I think too, it's such a way to build your empathy skills, even if you're someone who is so empathetic. What I see happen with women who have some Karen qualities, but they aren't the Karens out there that are awful. They just
Mm-hmm.
got some stuff that we need to look at. And I think a lot of times, and I saw this in the TikTok videos, and I've done this myself. I've done it with everybody, not, it doesn't matter what color someone. So I've done it there too, where you put your empathy in front of it and you make the situation about you and how
Mm-hmm.
you've experienced something that might be like it. And then learning, okay, that's an interesting college try, but
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't work either, because you're now whitewashing, and I'm not trying to use a pun, but I'm using the term here, whitewashing an experience for somebody else that you need to take yourself out of, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not about you, the Karen. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep. Yep. And I think maybe if, people would look at it like, um, if somebody is going to discriminate against you for something, you maybe don't always have that thing available or showing for them to discriminate against.
Right.
Being a Black person, we carry that around with us for everyone to see. And that's why it's something we cannot get away from, because we're wrapped in it.
Right.
The first thing that people interact with when they interact with us. And so it's not, there's really, what are you going to compare that to? It's something that like you could compare it, and it's something that we cannot get rid of. We can't change. We can't give away. We can't wish away. Like, and I wouldn't. I love me. I love being Black. I love my culture. I love my people. I love everything about it. So I would never change. And it causes difficulty for me every day that I choose to get up and go out of the house. Let's just say that. And that's most every day. So, and even now I don't have to go out of the house. Like I was talking about the Zoom meetings or whatever, like
Right. I was thinking too, your kids, like, well, every time your kids go out, that's a potential for you to have to be out there in a way that,
yep.
Is painful.
Yep. So, I think if people would, and I don't feel, sorry for myself. Like I am so happy that God put me on earth as a Black woman. Thank him. Like I do not, and he prepared me for the task. Through my family, through my mama, my grandmama, my great like everybody, even where he placed me to be born. Like he put me here and put me in the place where I am, and he equipped me for this task. But it is not an easy one, and it is not a light one.
Yeah. I'm so glad I met you. I'm thankful so much for Stephanie Holmes. I mean, oh, that woman is a firecracker. I mean,
she is.
So are you.
She is. She is. And it's so funny. I was telling you the other day, when we were talking about this and then deciding to do this podcast, like, it's so funny. Like I have had experiences with so many quote unquote Karens, including, in my husband's family, that I, have in the past, like been like, I do not want to have anything to do with white women. Like They are toxic. And in the last couple of years, like I have made some of the, and so my two best friends in the world are my friend, Al, and she's a white woman from, backwoods Louisiana. And my other best friend is Chrissy, and they'll probably both be listening to this. And she is first generation born in the US, Taiwanese. And so we were quite the trio. And we met each other at that high school for gifted kids. And we are as close could be. Like Al's kids, firstborn daughter is my goddaughter, and her middle name is Mary. And so we were in each other's weddings. Al planned my wedding single-handedly because I was in residency and had no time to do it. And we are just like the best, like we're sisters basically. And so it's so funny. So that's my background in friendship. But the last couple of years, right after I said, after the last big fight with my husband's mother, I said, I don't want to deal with it anymore. So then he sent me blonde-haired, blue-eyed Stephanie Holmes, who has introduced me to you. And then now you're introducing me to all these people. The lady who was helping me write my book is a delightful lady, white lady. And so God is like, I'm not going to let you give up
Yeah.
on a whole people group because you are in your feelings and you want to take your toys and go home from the playground. That's not how this is going to work.
Yeah, I've been feeling that way about white men for a while. Just like I am so done.
Yep.
And then something, when you're really a highly empathetic person, you can feel the collective consciousness pain and anger. And so a lot of it, I think I was feeling what a lot of women are feeling. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then just like a week ago, that anger went away. And I just noticed the absence of it. And the interesting thing is I noticed that my son dropped a lot of his anger too, and how we are so connected, even when he is mad at me.
Yeah.
We are still so connected that if I'm angry, about white men, well, my son is one of those people. So
exactly.
yeah.
Yep.
You got to work through that stuff. I mean, I don't want to, yeah, you have to, but while also being so honoring to yourself and allowing yourself to be angry for as long as you need to, and then choosing to move your way through it. It takes a lot of internal work, especially when you've
therapy. Lots of therapy.
Oh my God. Yeah. Thank God for therapy and for
therapy.
I mean, my God.
And girlfriends. Therapy and girlfriends, man.
And you know what I love? I love this thing happening. I guess I'm reaching crone stage as a female, and fine, like I'm totally fine with that. I mean, I'm like so happy to be older. Every time I have a birthday, I'm like, yes. So it's funny. I have so many women of every possible situation you can think of that will text me and go, I just need to have a call with you. When are you available? Before the end of the year, we just need to do a call. Like a lot of women doing that. I had 3 today, and some of them are podcasters on the network. Like Laura Lee is one of them.
She's so great too. I can't wait to be on her
This
show.
is so cool. I really like this stage of, okay, how can I support you on your journey? Like, what can I do? What would be helpful without being pushy or or me, you feel like I'm trying to take credit for something that is your hard work. Like, how can I be helpful to you? Or if you're too tired to answer that question, I will just be helpful. And then you have total permission to be like, okay, you need to back off.
Yep. And what a gift. What a gift that is. Because people don't often have people that just offer to stand by them with no strings attached. Like really, truly no strings attached.
Yeah, there's no strings attached from me at all. They're just no.
And I can vouch for that. I can vouch for that. There's no strings attached.
No, I mean there have been at different times in my life, just definitely when I was so all up in my ambition.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm going to do that because that'll and okay, it's nice to be like, you like yourself now, Kristin. Remember, like you like yourself, like you like your girlfriends. You even love yourself, like you love your girlfriends. So you're just your friends, period. So you can laugh at your faux pas, which can be pretty stupid.
Yep. He is kind of. I read this thing this week, and I'm really trying to practice it. Be as kind to yourself as you would one of your girlfriends.
Yeah. It ain't easy, is it?
No, it is not easy. No.
Nope. I was mimicking one of my other girlfriends who is from the deep South.
Yeah.
And I'm fixing to go somewhere, and I'm going to the theater to watch a. Yeah. I slip when we get on the phone. I slip right into it, and
it's so funny.
I met her in Oklahoma, and here's what's funny: her boyfriend, I still talk to him. His name's Casey, And I met him first in Oklahoma, and he was
Okay.
like, well, yeah, come to this fair with me. And I said, and I came from Southern California where the Orange County Fair is epic.
Huge.
It's
Yes.
insane. And then you go to one in Oklahoma. So I'm
No.
thinking it's going to be this huge thing. And I'm like, well, Casey, where am I going to meet you? Like, I'm thinking and he's like, I will literally be the only Black man here.
You're not
And
literally.
and I was like, oh, okay. And then I drive up and it's like the size of a postage stamp is the fair. And I'm like, okay, well, I would have
And
found
he's the
anyway.
only Black guy there. You're not gonna have any trouble finding me.
Oh, well, thank you for agreeing to talk about this. And we will keep having discussions because we have to. We have to, like, it's okay to show your ignorance about something. I'm saying this to listeners, not to you, Mary, but like, just it is really okay to if you can do it with respect instead of fear and insecurity, or even if you come into it with insecurity, that's okay too, but just be respectful. You will learn so much that enriches you as a human being.
And you will also help, in this case, you will renew that other person's faith and hope in people.
Right.
If they've come from a place where there's a lot of hurt and trauma, and you come and you allow yourself to be vulnerable with them, you have no idea what that does. You just don't know what that does unless you've been in the situation before where somebody gave you that gift.
Right. No, and I've had plenty of people that have, well, I wouldn't say plenty. I've had a few people who have given me that gift when things were just absolutely, I didn't want to be here. So it was definitely suicidal. And those people that, come in and just wrap their arms around you and go, you got things to do. You cannot.
Yep.
No.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I actually had a friend say, if you do something like that, it will so shatter my faith in myself.
Yep.
And make me, since she also had suicidal ideation and horrible trauma as well. And she was like, if you do that, then I'm going to seriously have a hard time not thinking about doing that too.
Yep.
And that's like all I needed to hear. Okay, never mind.
Yep. You are who I have. You've given me hope. So if you do that, then where's what? And sometimes you need that in a person. And I'm not saying that should always be there, but sometimes that gets you from one second to the next.
Exactly, which is so important when we're talking about mental health.
Absolutely.
Because all these things that you talk about, that you deal with on a daily basis, are things that deride people's mental health.
Absolutely. And I've been there, like just absolutely depressed and anxious and just like why
Yeah.
So absolutely. And having like those people that I just talked about, just let me lean on them to take the next step, because sometimes that's all I could do.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, having people carry you when you can't even get up, that I mean that sometimes it's literally, sometimes it's just emotionally, which is the biggest piece anyway. But well, we will keep having these conversations, and listeners, I want to do roundtables about this. I know you've listened to things I've done in the past, and I'm just grateful that there is a very small but necessary drop of change in terms of connection and awareness around issues of racism. So it's just a drop. Like, we have I don't even want to say, who am I to say we have so much further to go? That's something for you to say, but it feels like there's at least a little droplet of water there that's towards this is changing,
Yep. And I think people like us doing things like this that's where the drops are coming from. And I think showing up with no agenda, showing
Right.
up, being willing to listen to one another, without preconceived ideas, setting aside prejudices, to have open, honest conversations. I think, that kind of grassroots stuff, and not doing it for the spotlight or
Right.
for clicks or likes or whatever the kids say these days.
I know. I know. The new word is Riz. And I'm like,
Riz.
okay.
My kids are constantly talking about Riz. And I had to ask the lady at the beauty shop who was young what that was. And when I came home and told my kids and used that in a sentence, they almost fell on the floor.
They did.
They were like, who have you been talking to?
My son just goes, no, Mom, no, it just doesn't sound good coming out of your mouth. And I'm like, well, get over it.
I'm
Because
gonna use
say it. When I think of Riz, I think of Rizzo from Greece. But
Yep. They have no idea. It's
and they're like, what? Greece? What?
Greece? We've never been to Greece. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm loving the crone stage here. Oh, okay. We will do more of these. Everybody, please tune in to the Dr. Mary Jones show. It is so good. You just heard her. So much to say. And really so many topics around autism and autistic young men. So just a plethora of reasons why everyone should tune into that show. But thank you for tuning in, Dr. Mary. Mary, thank you for doing this show with me.
Oh, it was so great. Thank you for having me, Kristin.
And stay on. We're going to chat a little bit after, but for now, I'm going to say, listeners, thank you for tuning in, and you'll be hearing more about this in the next years to come.
But will you ride the low, low, lows with me? Will you ride the low, low, lows with me?
One thing you can always count on at Mental Health News Radio Network and my show is that there will always be dogs around. Why? They are natural healers, excellent for your mental health. The original therapy dog Miles has something to say in just a moment. For now, please check out all of our amazing shows at mentalhealthnewsradionetwork.com and all your favorite podcast apps. Until next time, I'm Kristin Sananta Walker, and thank you for listening.
And I can ride the low, low, lows with me. I can ride the low, low, lows with me. Till my vision clears up perfectly. I can ride the low, low, lows with me.
Good boy.